So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans. That ended a bit quicker than I thought. And welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Even the holiday drinks are kicking in already. And I've had a couple of days to think about the transfer window. And I wanted to come back. I wanted to talk about some of the players that we signed. So welcome to sunny Catalonia here in Spain. And also a place that's fabled for its technically gifted footballers, and obviously La Mesa in Barcelona, and obviously all the other wonderful academies that are around here as well, Girona and so on. And the reason that I wanted to bring that up was because a technical footballer is the topic of the day today. Harvey Elliott, Harvey Barnes, and he said it again. Harvey Elliott, somebody who Aston Villa obviously wanted for a while, were able to make the transfer work and got it done on deadline day, loan with an obligation to buy. There's been a lot talked about the actual deal itself, how much it cost, and so on and so forth. I don't really care about that. I'm just happy that we've got a player of his ilk in the door at Aston Villa and somebody who can contribute to Aston Villa in the very, very short to medium term, if not the long term as well, given his age. Because I'm going to pontificate a small bit about why I think this transfer was so important for, I suppose, almost even the reputation of the club. I think going forward was because, once again, and I'm going to continue to say this until I'm blue in the face, that this transfer window, there was a lot of things that couldn't be said. There's a lot of things that the club couldn't divulge. And in the vacuum, anything filled that. And one of the big things that started to fill the vacuum was the club was getting old. The team was getting old really, really quick. And which was kind of true. It would have been a lot more true if we'd signed Paqueta and Marco Asensio, but that's not how it transpired. Obviously, Lindelof is over 30, but we have Jadon Sancho and we have Harvey Elliott come in. Harvey Elliott obviously being the most youthful at 22 years of age. So it's great to see. It's great to see that as a player of that age, of that the quality, and I suppose of that demographic, I think, come in as well. Because lest we forget as well, he's an Englishman. In case spoiler alert, Harvey Elliott's an Englishman. But Aston Villa could very, very quickly, even though the results at the start of the year haven't told the story that we wanted them to tell, Aston Villa could very quickly become that place whereby young English talent gets spotted, because we have three players gone off the English team this week, and with the turnover in the attacking areas that you would be expecting, even with Thomas Tuchel as well, because new manager in there looking to make his mark. There is potential that, like realistically speaking, the 22 to 26 brigade for England is rife with talent, but it's about those who are playing well in any given time. And we see that that Thomas Tuchel has brought in the likes of Ruben Loftus-Cheek back into the team, into the setup, and he's somebody that could play in the same position as a Harvey Elliott as well. So why am I bringing that up is because, number one, the demographic, 22 years of age, the skill set, what he's known for, his marquee abilities are all exactly what Aston Villa wants. But Aston Villa would be what Harvey Elliott wants as well, given that we've got Morgan Rogers in around there. So we're going to have international eyes on this team as well. I think that is for sure. Holiday Neil, what a vibe. Exactly. Full Hawaii 5-0 here are Tom Selleck. I was going to shave in the tash for tonight and go full Tom Selleck tonight as well. But Dave says I look relaxed. I tell you I am. I've had quite a lot of the whiskey and cokes here, sitting on the veranda. So it's fantastic. It's great to relax, great to get away from it all. But I couldn't even begin to tell you the stresses that have come on this holiday as well. And that's not what this podcast is about. And I will not not divulge into those either. The stresses of traveling with a 2 and a 4-year-old. But anyway, getting back to 22-year-old and Harvey Elliott. As I say, yeah. So like this transfer must have been manna from heaven for him, because we see at the moment Chelsea trying to get a lot of 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds into their squad, and try and progress that way. There was a backlog that formed very, very quickly there, whereas there's no backlog. I would argue, and I will argue with this, that there is no backlog for Harvey Elliott in either the 10 position or in the right wing position at the moment. There is no backlog because nobody has made that position their own, and John McGinn ain't that position. And he isn't the future of that position. And I think Unai Emery will want to create the future of that position. Just like when Morgan Rogers got their chance, he became the future of the left-hand side / number 10 role. Unai Emery will want to create the future of that right-hand side. And I think he knows he needs to, because he's referenced that we didn't have, in previous interviews, he's referenced that we didn't have that Leon Bailey, when we got into the Champions League, was he was a lot of the catalyst of an awful lot of that, because of the pace and the trickery brought from that right hand side. But for us last year, obviously we didn't have that. He wasn't the same player, and he's since moved on to Roma. And wish him all the best in that move, because it's only good for us if he moves, plays well there, and gets sold on. Well, then happy days, I suppose, for Aston Villa, because his future doesn't lie at Aston Villa. So Harvey Elliott, I think, is exactly what. Is exactly what I think Aston Villa need, and I think Aston Villa is exactly what Harvey Elliott needs, because he's had an absolutely fantastic upbringing, I think, really, in the game of football. At 22 years of age, that's mad to say, but going to Liverpool, learning from professionals, winning teams, being in a winning team at such a young age. He had that bad injury as well, remember, and he's come back from that too. You have Fulham. He's Fulham on ECV. He's got Blackburn on ECV as well. So he's played a decent amount of football for a 22-year-old. Decent amount of football. I think in 2022, 2023, he must have came close to 2,000 minutes for Liverpool in all competitions, specifically in the Europa League travails that year. I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but for Blackburn, he had like close to 2,000 minutes as well, as a 19-year-old. So he's a decent amount of football played. Last year, not so much. I think he didn't even crack the 1,000-minute mark, which is fine. Not too bothered about that, because the reason I'm not too bothered about that is that I don't think there's a stagnation there. Stagnation obviously being a hyperbolic word, but you know what I mean about stagnation. Well, maybe you don't, because I might have explained it, but I don't think those 800 minutes were any of his fault, really. He was just in a bloody good team, and the reason that it doesn't mean make a jot of difference to me is he went away with the England under 21s and was arguably star man for the big occasion. He scored in quarterfinal, 2 in the semi-final, and 1 in the final, if I'm not mistaken. So somebody that definitely has the big game pedigree. He's a cocky man. Like I want cockiness. And what I mean by that is, I don't mean cockiness like I don't mean like mad cockiness or insane cockiness. I want cockiness, people who believe in their own ability. There's a difference between believing in your own ability and being cocky that way, and being, detrimental factor, and like the cockiness being a detrimental factor. Like, I can't even think of a player now, but you guys all know. Like, I'll go so far as I want my players to be cocky because they're good, as opposed to cocky because they think they're better than they actually are. And I think Harvey Elliott is cocky because he's good, and he's willing to, what I mean by that is, he's willing to try things. He's willing to be that little spark of electricity. He scored some worldies of goals in his time at Liverpool as well, which is brilliant. And he's got that tactical flexibility as well. I think that everybody wants within this club, and Unai Emery certainly wants as well, because biggest thing about him is that he's capable of playing centrally, or he's capable of playing that right-hand side. Jadon Sancho is going to be a left-sided player for Aston Villa. I can't see him switching between the left and the right. I just don't see it. I see him being that left-sided player. I see him tallying in there between himself, Morgan Rogers. I see Morgan Rogers being played centrally. I've seen him being played on the left-hand side. I don't see him being played on the right-hand side. ideally, I see Morgan Rogers being played through the centre with Emi Buendia being his backup, and I see Gisand and Jadon Sancho battling it out for that left-hand side. And then the right-hand side then becomes a Harvey Elliott, Daniel Mallon fight, with the potential of Gisand or Mallon being the stand-in for Ollie Watkins up top. I think that makes sense. That amount of flexibility. And the reason that Unai Emery wants that flexibility is at any given time, it allows you to have your form players in the team. Now, I know there's people looking at their screens going, geez, he doesn't pick fucking foreign players or whatever. That's fine. I'm saying that in an ideal world, in a hypothetical situation, when you're writing everything down on paper, it allows you to do that. And I think we will see a changing kind of mindset and tech and from Unai Emery. Just like if everything he said that he knows is wrong so far this season, we should see that change. And highlighted as well by the fact that the team that he started against Crystal Palace as well showed a change in his mindset as well with regards to that. Right, I can't just keep on going conservative. I have to have a go at the jugular here, and Harvey Elliott will allow you to do that as well. So, that's one of the biggest things, because like he'll be able to play that as that creative outlet either at central or on the right hand side, particularly in a 4-2-3-1 that we know we play, even though people, we like to, or it's out there that we like to kind of disguise it as a 4-2-2-2. I don't think we do that as much as we as fans think we do. I think it's very much a rigid 4-2-3-1 now. It was obviously that way, and at times against Crystal Palace, we went back into a flat 4-4-2. That was obvious and evident as well with Morgan Rogers playing up top with Ollie Watkins, which was evident as well. But the structural build up from the back, the high pressing that Unai Emery wants, the ability to, or the want to regain possession quickly and then try to exploit through width, which we've seen us do an awful lot with. I was going to say overlapping fullbacks, but we're not going to have that really on the right hand side. Like we'll have Matty Cash who goes so far forward and cut back, and that's just been the thorn in his side. I think that fans dislike that, and he doesn't show the evolution to be able to move on that way. And that's always going to be the cross he's going to have to bear as well. But that's important. Also, couple that with Harvey Elliott's set piece execution ability. He's a good set piece taker, good corner taker. Corner's been pretty shite so far this year. So having a good corner taker would be pretty handy within this team as well. And look, he contributes in defence during transitions moderately. That's what I would say. I don't expect him to be somebody who contributes brilliantly, but he contributes moderately. That's what I would say. Where is it there? Sorry, I'm just looking at a few notes here that I've written down on him as well. But I think somebody like him who can run across the line, maybe from a right back position or from a right sided position into the centre. If we play kind of start crisscrossing there with Morgan Rogers or even with the Nevin Gisand or whatever, swapping players around, maybe moving the full backs, trying to get full backs isolated internally to try and then get space out the wing where we can play our cutbacks that we normally did with Jacob Ramsey and all those guys. We've had some great success in the past. I think that ability to be able to do that with the likes of Tielemans in the team and John McGinn, if he's going to be in there in the sixth position over the next few games, if Boubacar Kamara isn't right, if Amadou Onana isn't right there as well, that gives us that added a bit of flexibility as well there. So I think that's really important. Plus, I think Ollie Watkins needs someone behind him at this stage, where he can play those through balls into him or threaded passes through. Yuri Tielemans was doing it last year from a more deep lying position. Be nice to have someone who's able to do that in there. Buendia tries, he tries, but Buendia is almost too busy for his own good. Be interesting to see what Harvey Elliott will be able to do if he is playing that 10 position. I don't expect him to be. I expect him to be playing the right hand side more so than in the 10. So let's take a little look at his statistical output as well. So let's take a little look at it. Look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys what's good and what's not good from this stat sheet. Limited minutes last year, but still meaningful minutes, I think, is the big piece here. You see here, obviously, his shots, like he dwarfs any player in our team. And yes, he's coming from a generational team with Liverpool as well, who are well able to play a game of football, attacking game of football, and he's obviously going to get chances because he's not going to be doubled up on. There's going to be other people there that aren't getting the ball or that are dominating probably attention, I suppose, from centre halves and from midfield players as well. That's okay. Yeah, but he still had to do what he did there, with the high shot output, high pass attempts there as well, high pass completion rate and so on, goal scoring, shot creating actions. Look, he just has some really sparkling numbers out there from a creative point of view as well. Even his defensive numbers look a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. Interceptions, blocks, fouls committed, all that kind of stuff is all good. But you could look at a stat sheet all day long. But Harvey Elliott's best abilities is his unpredictability. The fact that he can get in there and he's 2-footed. He can work that right hand side in the short intermediate, and then he can go over the top as well because he's got the pace to get in behind people. So, of all the criticisms that Villa have had at start this year being stale, predictable, slow, or whatever, Harvey Elliott kind of cures 2 or 3 of those criticisms that have been labelled at him, and between himself and Jadon Sancho, it kind of takes that stale and slow part out of it anyway, really, doesn't it? Because it allows us to attack on either side. And look, you may not be a fan of the Sancho signing. I'm more hopeful than expectant, I think, really, with anything to do with that. But with Harvey Elliott, I'm expectant more than hopeful, and I expect him to be a good player for Aston Villa because I think that he's just shown that he's a great footballer, and he's a talented footballer. He's a good technical footballer as well, and they don't grow on trees. So to be able to get one of those for the rumoured price of not being too dear, for Aston Villa, obviously, well then that has to be seen as a positive, because look, he's attacking output here, and I've said it with caveat already that he's played in a generational team with some superb footballers around him. It absolutely dwarfs anything we had last year, and even if I was to go to the year before, it dwarfs anything from there. It probably dwarfs anything we've had in the last 40 years, to be honest with you. But then again, obviously there is caveats there with the team he was played with last year. So I think in a lot of ways that the excitement of the transfer window boils down to Harvey Elliott signing. It really does. Or the excitement on the last day of the transfer window boils down to that signing. And I'm okay. I'm okay with only having one person to be fully excited about. It's better than having none. And perfect being in the way of the good. Perfect getting in the way of the good, should I say, is something that it's a phrase that I was introduced to about 4 years ago, where I was, I wasn't really always happy with I suppose it was actually output and work and output on the podcast. I wasn't really happy with it. I remember someone telling me, well, listen, bring your best. Perfect can't get in the way of the good. And the actual phrase itself, when I sit back and I think about it, I goes, yes, look, could we have had Paqueta? Could we have had JD Canvo? And I read a Jacob Tanzwell article today about all the players we potentially missed out on. And I was there, yeah, that would have been perfect. This signing is pretty good. So I'm going to enjoy watching Harvey Elliott. I think he's a footballer this year. I think you guys will too. I think he's going to be an enjoyable watch for Aston Villa, and he's going to contribute an awful lot. And I think it's in a position that we absolutely need contributions from as well. So yeah, I'm not going to stay on too long because, as I say, I am still on holidays, in case you haven't guessed. But I just wanted to come on and chat about Harvey Elliott, and I will be on tomorrow, talk about Sancho, and then I'll do a small piece on Lindelof as well, because why not? But in the meantime, everybody, thanks a million for all your kind comments on the last podcast we did at the end of the transfer window. Thanks a million for your kind comments on this one as well. But please give us a like, share, whatever it is. But the big thing I want you guys to do is, if you guys check out my Twitter, if you are interested in winning some Villa gear or whatever, football prizes have an offer up there at the minute. It ends tomorrow, I think it is. That's $2.95 for a ticket. But there's a ton of stuff that you can win there. I think there's like 14 signed jerseys, hospitality for Fulham, £1,000 in cash, all separate prize wins. If that's your thing, give it a look and see if you enjoy it. But in the meantime, everyone, I'm going back to enjoy my holiday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.